Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Greene. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Greene is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview Sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
49 faces looked to him in triumph. Over the last 12 months, they had each taken turns and promoted his business for a week at a time, driving over $987,342 in revenue. What if you had a network of 50 centers of influence who promoted your business every week for a year? Grab your copy of the #1 Amazon best-selling book, The Ultimate Guide to Growing Your Business with a Podcast, at 33% off the Amazon price by going to ultimatepodcastbook.com. Again, that website for 33% off the Amazon price is ultimatepodcastbook.com. Welcome to the podcast. This is your co-host, Seth Greene. Today, I've got the good fortune to be joined by Justin Donald, the #1 best-selling author of The Lifestyle Investor, The 10 Commandments of Cash Flow Investing for Passive Income and Financial Freedom. He is also founder of The Lifestyle Investor, the #1 financial education company for passive income, cash flow investing, and financial freedom. He's built a reputation as the leading expert in low-risk, high-reward cash flow investments, simplifying complex financial strategies, and structuring deals that create sustainable, long-term passive income. Through his Lifestyle Investor Mastermind, top-ranked podcast, and transformational programs, Justin helps entrepreneurs, executives, and investors like us discover proven strategies to build wealth, protect assets, and create a life on their terms, achieving the ultimate goal, true lifestyle freedom. He's been seen on USA Today, Kiplinger, Fox Business, Forbes, Inc., Entrepreneur, the Wall Street Journal, and many more. Justin, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. That was fast.
I was going to say, now I'm going to take a breath.
Yeah, you can really rattle it off. Good to be back with you, Seth.
Likewise. Let's go back in time a little bit. How did you get started?
Yeah, I had what many would consider a typical job. It was like a business under the umbrella of another company. So it was partially my first major entrepreneurial endeavor, but it was partially working on behalf of someone else, creating my own entity. And it just got to the point where my time was producing my income. And if I deviated that time, I might earn less. I didn't have the right systems or people in place that I eventually learned to build out and develop. But early on, I just remember thinking, how do I find a way to earn income without it being tied to how much time I work? And that's really where the Lifestyle Investor was born, and really where my investment journey began. Basically, I was outsourcing it to a financial advisor who definitely wasn't doing a great job. And I think the reporting was a little bit, or maybe a lot, manipulative to maybe lure me or incentivize me to keep my money there when the returns weren't actually what the numbers were sharing. I just decided, hey, it's time for me to take my financial education in my own hands. I need to be a student of this. I need to learn how to do it. And that's when I started investing in alternative investments. And I started investing in the stock market probably 25 years ago, but the returns I got there have been so minimal compared to what I have done on the private side in real estate, private equity, and private credit, which is really what the billionaires do. It's about 60% of their net worth is tied up in those 3 asset classes, alternative investments, as they're often commonly referred to. And so that was it. I started buying real estate, started producing cash flow. My wife was able to retire. We were able to cover our lifestyle. And eventually we just kept adding surplus income to it and had to diversify into some other things that made us a lot more well-rounded from an investment standpoint.
That is awesome. And I know obviously the longer version is in the book, so we'll drive everyone to go get that later on in the show. So that's how you started getting into it for yourself. When did you realize you were onto something, and then when did it turn into a business?
Yeah, this was really a passion project for a long time. I used to do all these free seminars and meetups and happy hours. And really, I just wanted to teach people what I had learned. And I had some friends that were early on in this that were like, hey, you're onto something. We've never seen alternative investments like this. We never even knew there was this thing called syndications. We didn't know how to vet these sponsors, these jockeys, and now we're learning how to do that. We're able to pick out what's a good deal versus a bad deal, and you've been teaching us all this stuff. I think you should scale it. And really, it came after taking a year off. I think 2017 was the year I just took the year off. We went and traveled the globe, my family and I. I've got at that time, she was a young daughter. And then my wife, and we went to 13 countries. And I was committed to not working for a year, which was really hard, Seth.
I can't imagine.
But
I started switching after a week of vacation.
Yes. At 5 weeks, I was like, did I make the right decision? But I eventually settled in and it became par for the course. And I just observed and journaled all the things I did each day. And I noticed what I did the most. I love to learn. I'm an eternal student, so I'm always reading books or listening to podcasts. The more I learn, the more I want to teach people. So I love teaching and coaching people to financial freedom. I absolutely love just people and relationships. And I always say that I want to do business with people I want to do life with. And then I love doing deals. And so I was like, what if I combine all those? And we'll call it the lifestyle investor, because it's the way I look at investing, that you invest in a way that amplifies your lifestyle, allows you to live a great life and be charitable along the way, and really lend support to others to also become lifestyle investors. And that's really where the movement happens. We launched the Lifestyle Investor book. It became a #1 Wall Street Journal bestseller right out of the gates. And now, as of 2023, it's the top 1% of all books ever sold. So it has exceeded all expectations. All the proceeds go to fight human trafficking, which I'm proud of. The podcast, I have a podcast as well called The Lifestyle Investor, and that is now a top 1% of all downloaded podcasts in all categories. And it's largely due to this social media explosion that people basically who read the book or listened to the podcast would share. Here's my experience. Here's what I changed. Here's what happened for me. And it went viral online. And so we built out the mastermind from there, the Lifestyle Investor Mastermind. And we've kept it at really 100 members for about somewhere between 6 and 7 years. And we just opened it up recently, and we're going to bump it to 125. But we have a wait list and some amazing human beings in that community.
That is absolutely incredible. You've had such an interesting journey. What surprised you the most?
When I first wrote a book, first of all, I dragged my feet on writing a book for, I don't know. I had friends probably for a decade prior telling me, you got to write a book. You got to teach people what you're doing. You got to run classes or sessions, webinars, whatever. And I just dragged my feet like, I don't know, you might find this interesting, but I don't know if the masses are going to find it interesting. And I never thought it was like, I never thought so many people would find what I find interesting also interesting. After enough humming and hawing, I had a buddy that I live in Austin, and we were walking around the lake here. And he goes, man, I've been telling you for years to write a book. You said you want to write a book. You don't, though. I get that it's a lot of work. And so I'm just going to give you the dagger right now. What if you die and your daughter never learns all these principles that you've learned about investing?
Wow.
And that was it, man. So I never thought of myself as an author. I started writing the book the next day. Within probably 8 months, I had it done. I dictated about 90% of the book and then transcribed it. I just went on walks and dictated it. But I had no following back then. I had no social media presence. I was like in the shadows. There was an Entrepreneur magazine article that came out that disclosed my net worth, unfortunately, because they were grasping for straws and trying to basically put some math together to figure out where I was I did not substantiate anything that they said. There was no way they could have known what it was. So their number wasn't exactly accurate, but it put me on the map in a way that I never intended to be, because I always kept it secret. My family didn't know, my friends didn't know. No one knew the wealth that I had built, because I did it quietly. I did it behind the scenes. But the blessing in it is there are a lot of people now in our ecosystem that get to learn. And now I'm a little more comfortable just sharing my approach, my strategies, my due diligence, all those things.
That's awesome. You've achieved so much success, not just for yourself, but for your students, which is even more important along the way. What's your biggest challenge now?
Really, it's just trying to figure out how to help as many people as we can. And everyone has a different situation. Everyone's situation is unique to them. Some people are W-2 earners. Some people are business owners. Some people really have the golden handcuffs, like they make really good money, but it's hard to leave. Some people are just struggling to get by. And so there's all these different groups or types of people. And we're working hard to build out products for all of them. And really, I'm trying to democratize what billionaires are doing. So I study all this single family office data, And so I know what they're doing. I know what percentage of their assets they have allocated to different asset classes. I know that it's not what most people think. Most of us think that people become wealthy through the stock market, but the billionaires really only have about 15 to 25% of their net worth in the stock market. And the vast majority is on private deals, private companies, private credit, which is the debt side, the private debt side, and then on real estate and maybe a little crypto, maybe a little oil and gas. And teaching people those strategies and how to move towards that, and even teaching them, we've got this roadmap to passive income that we created. It's a free product. And we teach people all these things that we've learned about the billionaire class and how they build wealth. We've got calculators in there so people can compute their own, put their own numbers into the spreadsheet. And it's been really powerful. But that's it. It's how do we make sure that everyone in every situation has some sort of playbook to get to the next level.
Your passion is obvious. What do you like best about what you're doing?
I love people. I'm a relationship guy. Early on, I remember I did these assessments when I was in high school, and I haven't really talked about this much, but I remember my mom was like, hey, we got to get these assessments. We got to figure out what you're going to do in life. Because I didn't know exactly what I was going to do. I thought maybe I'd be like a trader or something. And I did these assessments 2 different years, and they both said, you should be a teacher. And I'm like, I don't want to be a teacher. But my gifts lend very well to teaching. But I'm like, teachers don't make much. They've got like a rigid schedule, and there's not a lot of flexibility inside the year. I don't know if I want to do that. And so I went the entrepreneurial route. I went the investor route. But the irony is today I'm a teacher, and I teach people the strategies that I've used and the processes that I've used and the diligence that I've done. So it is comical that I am a teacher. I'm just a highly paid teacher, and I figured out a different way for flexibility and income around the gifts that I just naturally have.
You are I have had this. I literally had a conversation with my wife yesterday about this, because she was talking about, I call her a 21st century therapist, because she's a blogger, a vlogger, a podcaster, a mommy blogger, and she does it all online. And
I love it.
Someone was talking to her she was like, oh, I'm tempted to go when the kids are almost out of our oldest is head off to college. I should go back to regular work. I should go get a job in a school as a social worker. It'd be a lot of fun. I'd be around people all day instead of on Zoom. And I didn't even have to talk her out of it, because one of her friends was like, Rebecca, you're got hundreds of thousands of downloads. You're helping those people. Those are each people who are listening to your content or reading it or whatever. You would only affect maybe a couple hundred people every couple of years at a school.
And it's on her time.
Yeah.
She gets to do it on her time, which is
right.
To me like one of the most powerful components of it all. Have impact, but on your schedule.
Yeah. So I love that you found a way to impact more people, which if you were a teacher and impacting millions, you get paid a whole lot more than a class of 30 kids.
That's right.
So Congratulations on that. Talk about the podcast.
The podcast is really, again, a passion project. Like you, I would assume you probably love to learn. I just love having guests on. I'll have people on, and my mind will be racing for hours after a session because of something they said or something they did or something I never thought of. So for me, it's an outlet that I get to learn. And I often will implement those things that I learn. And I never thought that the podcast would blow up and become really big. And still today, I don't do it for everyone else. I'm happy that they can join in and be a fly on the wall, as I like to say. It's very humbling, and I'm honored to have so many people that listen, but I'm still doing it for me because I love it. I love the people. I love to learn. I like the intellectual stimulation. It is just fun for me.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Even if it didn't pay very well, I would do it for free, just because I become a better person in every episode by learning from people like you.
Yes, so true.
Awesome. For our folks watching and listening, where is the best place for them to go to get the book, the podcast, and learn about all things Justin?
You can get the book on Amazon if you want. You can go to my website, lifestyleinvestor.com. More of the proceeds will actually go to fight human trafficking if you buy it on Amazon, though. I'm a big fan of that, but you can get it. I think we have some sort of free promotion. You pay for shipping if you go on my website. And still, we'll put that portion of the proceeds towards these charitable efforts. But we have all kinds of products. We have courses. We have all kinds of free products, whether it be the podcast or downloadable resources that could have been in the book that we chose not to have in the book. We've got masterminds and master classes and and our passive income roadmap. And for anyone that wants any resource, we have every price point imaginable. But for your community, I'd love to even offer what most people really enjoy is our strategy sessions. So our team does these one-on-one calls that help people get from point A to point B. And generally we charge $500 for it. But for anyone in your community, your audience that says they heard about this through this podcast, we'll just do it for free. We'll do a strategy session with them. If you go to lifestyleinvestor.com/consultation, you can get that. And if you want the roadmap, you can go to lifestyleinvestor.com/roadmap. And that gives you the roadmap to passive income and the passive income calculator.
That is, I was not expecting such a generous offer. Thank you so much. That is awesome. We will absolutely tell everyone to go check out lifestyleinvestor.com, lifestyleinvestor.com/roadmap, and mention you heard this podcast from Seth Greene to get lifestyleinvestor.com/consultation. Justin, we greatly appreciate your time. We know it's incredibly valuable. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me on the show, Seth. Good to see you again. Hope all is well in your world too.
Likewise, thanks for being a repeat guest. Thank you everybody for watching or listening. We will talk to you or see you next time.
Why do so many businesses struggle while others seem to explode overnight? Do you wish you had the secret to this type of exponential growth? Now, I've scaled more than 20 businesses to over $100 million, and it's not just luck. In my new book with Mark Tim, Mentor to Millions, you'll learn the repeatable framework I use in all my business ventures for massive success. Order at kevinmentor.com and get over $1,000 in bonuses. Head to kevinmentor.com.